Hello, I'm Vicki Thompson, Senior Advisor for Education and Workforce Strategy at TPMA, and I'm happy to have with me Lori Laddick and Casey Bohe from Spirit AeroSystems as we continue to celebrate National Apprenticeship Week. So I'm going to ask each of you to introduce yourselves. So Lori, if you could tell us about your role at Spirit and how your company started with the RAP journey, and then we'll have Casey introduce herself to tell us what she's been up to.
Okay, my name is Lori Laddick, and I am Senior Manager over Pipeline Development here at Spirit AeroSystems. I've been in the role for probably about 5 or 6 years. We have 4 different registered apprenticeship programs, and we started our program actually with the electrical apprenticeship program. It's been going for about 13, 14 years here. So I'm also responsible for our college recruiting summer internship program and our high school and youth programs that we have.
Wow. Okay. So Aero is truly committed to this earn and learn model and providing the opportunities for people to be able to take advantage of work-based learning. I mean, while they're actually there and they're learning. Okay. So Casey, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you're doing, your registered apprenticeship program and what you've been up to?
Yeah, so I'm Casey Bohe, and I'm in the NC Programming Apprenticeship here at Spirit AeroSystems. Ours is 2-year program. I'm about to finish my 2 years, actually. Yeah, I mean, just basically we've been jumping from group to group. There's 8 total. There was, and then they've kind of switched things around because we're the very first cohort of our apprentice program, the NC programming one. So yeah, we just jumped from place to place, and then finally at the end of like the 6 months or so, we're kind of in our final programming NC programming department. That's where we're going to be staying. And yeah, so I've just been spending the last 6 months here at in Blue Streak, where I'm like my set spot and just learning as much as I can.
So why is it that you decided to participate in a registered apprenticeship program, Casey?
So basically this one aligned a lot with what I was interested in and going to school for. I mean, I was going to school for 2D and then 2D programming, that is, and then I wasn't really too into it. So and then I took a step back, started doing 3D modeling stuff, and I'm like, I really enjoyed that. So and then this apprenticeship propped up, and I'm like, this could be perfect for me. And so far it's been such an amazing fit. And I'm really glad that I've been able to do it.
Yes, that's great. So I failed and I should have asked before. So I'm going to go back to you, Lori, and ask if you could give us a little bit of background on what it is that Spirit AeroSystems does, and then what has been the biggest challenge in recruiting apprentices?
So Spirit AeroSystems is a manufacturer for airplane parts. For our biggest customer is Boeing and Airbus. We also have some military programs here. We manufacture the parts and pieces, put the fuselage together, and ship them out from here. We do not do any final product here. We do all the parts of the aircraft for the different companies. We are soon to be back acquired by Boeing in the next year. We were part of Boeing and then split off to Spirit AeroSystems, and now Boeing's acquiring us back. So we're currently undergoing that. But the reason we went to registered apprenticeships was because it started out in our maintenance electrician. So we were struggling hiring the electricians because out here at Spirit, our electricians that are out on the floor, they see so many different types of equipment that you really just have to train them. You can't just go hire an electrician that's been trained on like a house electricity to do what they do out here. They're doing parts and components and all the different kind of electrical wiring, and then they may jump over to building. And we even have our own power distribution group out here that kind of does the large power like your linemen do. We have our own set of power distribution electricians out here. So the apprenticeship program started with the electricians first. Then in facilities, they went to their mechanics because mechanics are the same. They are very unique they work right side by side with the electrician. and they struggle with getting the knowledge, right?
Yep.
So they found that training your own was a way to go. And the NC programming was started 2 years ago, because NC started having the same problem in hiring, and we just recently started another one with what's called an operations support specialist. They're kind of a liaison between a guy out on the floor, one of the aircraft mechanics out on the floor, and an engineer that sits in the office. They kind of work some of those issues between those two. So we have 4 different programs, and I have about 2 others that are currently seeking to start one. Plumbing will be our next one. I believe that we'll start after the first of the year. So apprenticeships have been real. We've learned that training our own is the best way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so impressive. And the idea of being able to show an employee what their advancement can be, you know, as they're there, I think that that's a real benefit. Have you found that it helps with retention?
Yes, our electrician program, we have a 100% retention out of all of them that have been through the program. We've had one person leave after they were promoted into management, and he actually went over into an electrical company, working for that company on the outside, and has recently asked about coming back. So yes, we have a 100% retention. We have tuition reimbursement, and some of them have actually went on to become an engineer after they went through the apprenticeship program and not paid for a dime of their schooling. So yeah, it's a really good program.
Wow, that's impressive. Okay, so Casey, what's been the most rewarding about your apprenticeship program? And then, like, you know, what have maybe some challenges been that you've had to address as you've gone through your program?
I'd say probably the most rewarding has been just being able to meet so many different people, as well as even just being able to produce functioning parts, like watching your program that you've made kind of come to life and turn into a functioning part for the plane is like it's extremely rewarding to see. And then the fact that we can even go down there and watch the parts run on the machines itself, it's really cool to see.
That's so important. You know, I've worked years in working with manufacturing and production before I came to TPMA. And that was one of the things I would always talk about is that does the employee understand how what it is they're doing affects the whole organization? And so I'm glad to hear that like you've been able to see that and be able to have an appreciation for what it is that you're doing and the impact it has on the whole. So congratulations to Aero for that. That's
Absolutely.
great.
Yeah, and that's kind of part of being able to work with the shop floor as well. You know, we get that opportunity to go down. What do you guys like to see? Kind of what do you think that I could do better? That kind of thing. To just be able to, I mean, that's very, very important to making parts and making just getting along well with your shop. You just always coordinate.
Yeah, that
I
communication.
Oh, for sure. A challenging, I'd say, is probably coming up here from no experience. Typically, programmers come from the shop floor. They know the machines well, you know, and so I'm coming in from, you know, I didn't work in aircraft. I didn't work on a shop floor previous. So I'm coming over from pretty much scratch, but that's okay because I mean, it just means working extra hard to kind of get the knowledge and get to where I need to be. So I don't know if it's more challenge, but I'd say I'm overcoming it well.
That's great. It sounds like it. You're very articulate about what it is that you're learning and how it is that you're using that. So, okay. So, Lori, how would you describe your work as far as like RAP itself? Are you working with the mentors that are working with the apprentices, or what exactly is your role in the registered apprenticeship programs?
So my role is recruiting for the programs and starting new programs. I'm actually part of the HR department, so I go out and recruit. My team helps recruit. We go to the high schools, we talk to the kids, we get them interested in registered apprenticeship. We tell them, you know, a lot of your high school kids are like, I could really do that. You know, I could come out of high school and just go straight to work, and you guys are going to pay me to go to school and learn a job. And so that's our job, is to go out there and recruit the kids and get different people interested in apprenticeships and seeing the opportunities that are out there. once they're in and hired, we actually have managers and they're out there with them. I meet with them periodically. I'm here if there's issues or problems. We have committees with each one of we have 3 different unions that we have apprenticeships with. So I meet with a committee with each of the unions and we discuss any problems or concerns or any enhancements we want to make with the programs. So I don't actually have a lot of contact with the apprentices unless they have an issue or concern. I'll just meet with them on a quarterly basis and just make sure they've got everything they need.
Well, kudos to you. That's a lot of coordination when you're talking about working with 3 different collective bargaining units and being able to keep it all together so it can be successful. So what do you think then, Lori, is a consideration that an employer should make when they're considering whether they should start a registered apprenticeship program or not? What are some things that they should be aware of that could be barriers, and how can they overcome those?
Well, we pay for the schooling and we pay for the student to go sit in school and learn that skill. So it's a paid, 100% paid program. They're a full-time employee, so they're getting benefits. I think you need to consider, if you're willing to do that as a company, what schooling are you wanting to do? And then you need to consider your workforce and make sure that your workforce is going to be, you really have to get a partnership with them. We went out and met with the unions first before we started any programs and made sure that they were on board and that they wanted to mentor these apprentices, because the last thing you want to do is bring in these new hires or young individuals like Casey, and then some of the the old timers you have out here per se aren't wanting to teach them. So you need to get them on board first to make sure it's their program, and then they're willing to teach and give them all the knowledge that they need to be successful.
Yeah, that's so important, right? For people to feel like the ownership, right? And that they really are passing something along that's like a legacy of that knowledge and that kind of thing. Yeah, really.
Yeah, we find that most of the people that are out on the floor, they have a lot of, they've got your tribal knowledge, right? I don't know the job they do. So I rely on them and they're the experts. So you have to get that knowledge from them. And if they're not willing to teach, then you're not going to have a successful program. But if you get them on board and you let it be their program, they're willing to put their all into it. And that's what we found to be very successful.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when we talk about like sharing knowledge and how important that is, Casey, that brings me back to you. I know that you have been involved in the Department of Labor's Apprenticeship Trailblazer program, which really emphasizes sharing what it is that you've learned and encouraging others. So tell me what it is that you've been able to share as far as your rap story with others to encourage them to become involved.
Yeah, so Lori's been able to set up like meetings with high schools and like middle schoolers and stuff. We've been able to go and just kind of explain that what we do, and just to let them know that it's available for them. If I had known that an apprenticeship like this existed back when I was in high school, I wouldn't have wasted 4 years of my life, you know what I mean? So it's just like being able to go and just tell them like, this is available to you. School free, like full-time paying job, like the opportunities are there. You just kind of have to know they're available and then go for it.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you're being allowed to share that story, right, to encourage others. So I think that that's really exciting. Can you tell us, I know that you spent a little bit of time this week at the National Apprenticeship Week in the conference in DC. Can you tell us a little bit about, what you've learned or any of the networking that you've been able to do?
Yeah, so that was amazing experience. I didn't even know I was going to be able to go until probably like a week and a half before. So to be able to go was really, really awesome. I got to meet with multiple different apprentice trailblazers and we explored DC with each other. I got to learn more about them. I actually met one of the trailblazers was a lineman in Ohio apprenticeship. Super cool. Just like meeting people from all over the world. We got Arizona, we had some people from tech, just everywhere. So and then sharing each other's stories and how different some of these apprenticeships are. Some of them are structured quite different, but all have the same goal in mind.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? It's like you can come from all different places and all different mindsets, and still you have a common goal of being able to gain knowledge, share it, and making it successful for your organization. Yeah, that's great. I'm really happy for you that you were able to do that. One of the things that I failed to mention at the top of this is that I've been fortunate enough to talk with Casey every quarter about what it is that she's doing, because TPMA is a US DOL apprenticeship ambassador. And as part of that, I get to be a mentor with part of the Apprenticeship Trailblazer program. And so I've had the joy and the privilege of being able to talk to Casey and hear about her story. So that's been something that's been really exciting for me. So as we close out our information session here today for National Apprenticeship Week, can you each give me just a final word on registered apprenticeship programs, something you think that's important to share for our audience to hear? So Lori, we'll start with you.
Well, I'd say, if you're an apprentice, go try, go apply. We have more than 100 applicants for each one of our apprentice programs each time. We have no trouble recruiting for it. It is very, very competitive. And what I tell them, if they don't get it, I tell them, go take, if you have an interest in this type of skill, go take a few classes, and then that shows the committee that is interviewing you that you have an interest. And maybe next year, we've had people that have come back and applied 5 times before they got in the program. Goodness. But the 5th time, the committee's like, they still struggle through their interview, but I want to give them a chance because they're really determined. So if you really want it, then stay determined, because it will show to the committee. And for a company, it's really worth it because you get dedicated employees through it. So that would be what I would share.
Thanks, Lori. Casey, what about you?
Yeah, I agree with Lori 100%. If you have an interest, just go for it. I mean, I'm not really a risk taker, so applying for this job to begin with was quite a risk for me personally. And I mean, it opened so many doors that I didn't even know were available to me. I mean, just not only just excelling in my job itself, but I mean, I was in Washington, D.C. just yesterday, so like if I hadn't taken that step or taken that jump and applied, I'd probably still be working retail. So I don't know, it's just if you have an opportunity, take it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's really nice to hear from both of you and to hear how well your programs are going, and the fact that you're running 4 of them successfully. That's really encouraging, and it's really nice to be able to celebrate that with you all this week for National Apprenticeship Week. So I do want to take a second to thank you, Casey and Lori, for your time today. And hopefully, well, Casey, I'll be talking to you soon, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But hopefully we can keep our lines of communication open here, and as we're moving along, to really continue to share the story of the successes of your registered apprenticeship programs, not only this week during National Apprenticeship Week, but in the coming weeks, to just be able to share how important these learn and earn models are and what they can mean for the success of not only organizations, but the employees that work in those organizations. So thank you all so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, ladies.
All right. See ya. Bye.
Bye-bye.